If you follow this, you'll be richer than 78% of NFL players. That's how many NFL players experience money issues after 2 years, because 50% are broke after 5. So the chances your favorite player like Odell Beckham will be broke in less than 10 years after stopping is super high. So what if I could show you 3 businesses that you could set up that would make you richer than 78% of the NFL, starting from just $1,000? Most players have financial worries, while some players set themselves up for life. There's a big difference between the two, and it's not as crazy as you may think. Shaq was one of the best basketball players of all time. Where does he invest his money? He owns 300 car washes. Magic Johnson owns Burger King's, gyms, and movie theaters. But before we get into the 3 businesses you can set up to be richer than Odell Beckham, let's quickly break down how these people like Odell make $12 million a year to then not have any cash. We'll show you how fast it goes, 10 to 12 million, and how fast it can disappear. And then also, we'll kind of break down how it works for normal people, because I don't think people realize making a ton of money doesn't mean that you'll have a ton of money. It's all a ratio of how much you spend. All right, let's get mathematical in this. Average athletes retire at 35. Lifespan is 80. They have to make $130 million to spend $3.3 million a year for 45 years. First of all, that just doesn't add up. So let's break it down. On a 10 mil a year salary, there's anywhere between 39 to 50% in taxes, give or take. So 10 mil becomes 6.1 mil, which is at the 39% rate, really fast. You know how to do nothing else besides play football because your life depended on it. Probably didn't finish college. You don't have any skill sets. Your name will be forgotten in a few years if it's not already. And you went from the peak of your career to complete irrelevance. Oh, and fun, you need that to last until you're 80 plus. But now with your on average spend of a couple million, that 11 million bucks lasts for what? Anywhere from, let's give it 10 years if we're being nice, all the way down to 3 or 4 years. So then as an athlete, you start panicking. And you try making investments to get yourself out of the hole of 40 plus years you have left to cover. And this is where it gets sad but true. People take advantage of athletes. I know 2 guys personally who managed $1 billion in athletes' money, and their only job is to tell the athletes no and put them in the stock market. You want to invest in crypto? Nope, stock market. You want to be Tom Brady, invest in FTX? No, stock market. The scams that happen to athletes, I mean, they're almost impressive. Mike Tyson got scammed for what, $100 million by Don King? John Elway lost 15 mil to a Ponzi scheme hedge fund manager. Bernie Kosar, how do we say this? I know nothing about sports. His dad basically took him for all he was worth by trusting bad people. Wait a second. What if you're not a celebrity? What if you're not this guy? Could this still work for you? Don't worry. We got you, fam. Let's get to what you should do instead. Let's go to the 3 businesses that you can start right now. Okay, this first business requires very little capital if you start small and then scale. You can learn the skills for it in a short period of time. And if you pay attention to the small details, I know multiple people that make starting at $5,000 a month all the way up to millions a year in profit. Now, what is it? Car washes. We have a portfolio of about 12 to 13 car washes that we bought for 4 to 6x, maybe a few we bought for 8x profits. That means if they were making 100K, we bought them for 400 to 800K. Did I just slap down a couple $1 million of my own money to buy these car washes? No. I used something called an SBA loan, aka the government gives you money to invest in these businesses, or more commonly, I used seller financing. We have a whole video on how seller financing works if you want to hit this one. Now, the reason I like car washes overall is because I think they're going to come down in valuation. They've been around for a long time. They're not going anywhere. Self-cleaning cars is a far way off. Sorry, Elon. But what you are actually going to need is you're going to need car washes in increasingly rural communities, and you're going to need car washes that have things that are smart added on to them, like subscription models, like having an ability to your truck cleaned and not just your car, to have little add-ons like, these here, which allow you to put wipes and fresheners and cleaners in them. Most of the car washes in the US are kind of old and gnarly, and your job is going to be to find one of these car washes that's old and gnarly and make it a little bit newer and cooler. And then you're going to replicate that business again and again. We bought these car washes for 4 to 8x profits. Now we're about to sell these car washes for somewhere between the range of 18 and 24x profits because we're selling them as a group. And then how much money you need really depends on, you can see some car washes here. You can buy car washes for $75,000, which means you would only have to put down a few $1,000s if you got seller financing, all the way up to you could buy car washes for millions of dollars. That includes the real estate in a prime location. So you just scale up. The second business that I think you should do has been done by literal 12-year-olds. Once you've acquired the main ingredients, it makes money while you're asleep. And the most successful business in this space is worth millions, and you can start with hundreds and then thousands of dollars. Home services business. Now, there are a ton of these, but the one I'm going to highlight for you right now is a business that comes around this time of year. This is where we save some cash. And how do we do that? We do it by keeping more of the money that we make. And the way that we do that is by partnering with somebody called Bench. Bench basically does all of your accounting and your P&Ls and make sure that you don't have any errors in your finances. Think taxes, but make it easy for you. If you guys are the ones right now actually doing your taxes and doing your monthly P&Ls, or an old-fashioned accountant is like this, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Instead, we use Bench. Check them out. This is a home decorating and house lighting business. The cool part about this is wealthy people, they like to put up Christmas lights. I don't know what the deal is. What does this business do? The benefits to this business are, what do you need to start? Well, you could pre-sell this service. You could go out, get flyers, and explain to people that you put up Christmas lights and do Christmas decorations, take all their stuff out, put it out for them and take it down. Would they like you to do it for them? You don't have to have anything for it in the first round. That means that you could pre-sell, 3 to 10 people before you even go out and buy the next thing that you're going to need, which is you're going to need lights, you're going to need a ladder, and you're probably going to need a few people to help you out. The benefits are super low cost, super low ease of entry, meaning you can just go and get your first clients door-to-door knocking. Then you can use our traditional strategies to go out and do things like YouTube videos about it. You can do PPC, which means you can do ads, etc. But this business is about as low entry as it comes. Then you add a bunch of additional services on top of it to make it a really successful business. Nobody stands out in this space. You can't name one company that does this consistently. And yet everybody has this need every single year. Not to mention, wouldn't it be great to have a company where basically you have a reoccurring subscription model, but you only have to execute on it once a year? Talk about a great business. This is wild because most businesses operate on what's called net 30 or net 60 or 90, which means they provide the service. They don't even get paid for 30, 60, 90 days. Now for the last one, but not the least, I believe this to be one of the most underappreciated opportunities that everyday people get to access, but nobody really talks about, and I'm not exactly sure why. Mini mailboxes or pack and ship. Now, we did a video on this business with my friend who owns 3 of these, and I am since investing in a few of them. Pack and ship business is basically this. It's like where you go besides UPS or FedEx to go ship a package, right? But also, the secret to this entire business is that it's not about the shipping. What actually makes the money are these things all along the walls. Think of these like self-storage shrunk down. So every single one of these mini mailboxes costs the user something like, let's say $20 to $50 a month to keep that PO box. I can send all of my business's mail to that PO box. I can send boxes to it. Doesn't have to go to my house, and I don't have to give away my personal address for my businesses. Most UPS and FedExes only allow you to have about 200 of these small little mailboxes in their store. But if you own it as like Codie Sanchez's pack and ship, instead of FedEx or UPS, what's fascinating is you can put in as many as you want. So I'd put in 1,000 of these mini mailboxes, and I would try to fill up every single one of those. So that means we're doing $30,000 a month on one location for just the mini mailboxes. And then if we add in on top of that shipping charges that people have, and if we add on top of that maybe another 500 mailboxes, and if we add on top of that, I don't know, a pickup drop-off location for Amazon, you're quickly getting to a business location that could do a couple $100,000 a year. I think you should do one thing after this, like one huge giant thing that you probably would never even think of, which is I would definitely subscribe now to this content to make sure that you get our next video that's going to be awesome, and join this community of other weirdos like you who are actually interested in things like pack and ship. Like, what are you doing on YouTube watching pack and ship videos? Sometimes I ask myself that too, but like I can't imagine anything worse than small talk. These 3 businesses can get you more wealthy than 72% of NFL players just 3 years after they finish making $10 million a year. And then the last business idea of a pack and ship, if you own 3 to 4 locations, I know a guy who owns 5 of these locations and makes $3 million a year. So while he probably can't catch a football for a fucking chance at all, he can certainly compare balance sheets as a scorecard between him and guys like Odell Beckham in the next 10 years.